even the music's playing or whatever, but for the people in the arena with the view of everything, it's a match that goes for 30 seconds and then stops for the next guy to come out. Who was El Grande Americano? Who was followed at number 13 by the original El Grande Americano, who's Chad Gable. So you got Gable and Kaiser, and they're both ripped, and they look great, and I just hate that. And we've got people on Twitter, because you said that was the stupidest gimmick, but what the fuck? It's just, they can do whatever they want in Mexico. They're all in Mexico. Not seem to understand. Honestly, in Mexico. And this gymnastics, these songs of the system are seen by the entire world. Thank you, Bruce Richard. So then the Americanos fought with each other at original
Good job,
number
Fraser.
2.
We now know the syndicate leader's current location.
And then Trick dumped
Have a good trip,
and
Fraser.
then Cody dumped Trick. Cody dumped Trick, not Cody dumped Trick. Dump truck. He dump truck it over. Speaking of dump trucks, Powerhouse Hobbs, they put up on the entrance video, Powerhouse Hobbs. And then the announcer said, well, here's the guy
Welcome to the Maldives. This is the last stand. We now know the leader's location. However, you will need to do some recon to make sure you get the right target. But this is not going to be easy. Previous actions have put them on high alert, so you need to be tactical. As to why they are here, well, we know this. They are here for a business meeting. As for the description, we know that they have no hair. They are wearing glasses. They are wearing a hat and has a tattoo. We also know that the target has a sweet tooth. But worst of all, they are paranoid. I hope this will help. Don't disappoint, 47. Good luck.
In Saudi Arabia, in the building, and they've gotten guys who were much bigger stars under other names and didn't mention their previous name. But I guess what I'm saying, Brian, is what the fuck? Well, this was very odd for them to do this. The way they did it was really odd, and we heard from a lot of listeners because the story came out. The name Royce is a tribute to his son named Royce, and the name Keys is a tribute to the maiden name of his mom. That's very nice. Yes, we were just saying Powerhouse is a better name. Powerhouse is a better name.
Check that out.
The guy that's standing there I'm looking at right now. He looks more like Powerhouse Hobbs than he does Royce Keys. But if you were going to do that, if you're taking that name, then why do you mention, oh, this was before he turned it down? Why wouldn't you just bring him out as Royce Keys if you want to reference anything? Because not only what they mentioned, they got an image, they had his name, Powerhouse Hobbs on the screen, like, 2 seconds. Then I go, shit, that's not no. And then like it breaks and it's Royce Keys. Like the new name overpowered the old name. Why even mention the old name? And they're never going to use it. And the fans there don't know him. And the whole thing was a questionable presentation. So hopefully we got a really fair shake of things about that end. Well, he power slammed the Dove Priest and he spinebuster Jamal and he had a face-off and a fight with Cody. And then here's Theory comes in. And Theory hit Evans and hit Cody twice and just went over the corner and started fighting. And then Bronson Reed. And it started, again, the entrances started overpowering the match of Ilya. He made a comeback on everybody for 15 seconds and then it settled down. They're not betting a lot of these guys, or if they're not producing it down to the nub like they used to, where it's, okay, you just get in and do whatever, then if I some of these guys, I'd do another couple guys, say, hey, let's do a spot. They just gotta look in. So this guy's not the original Arca, and they set up giving us history. They're giving the history of the character, the person. Oh, this is a famous character. His history. I'm like, what? So he got credit for all of the inanimate objects that it so then he beat up Mary in advance, and then 19 frequently, this is just watching guys enter. And then number 20, Logan Paul. So then all of a sudden, with kind of a little, not much fanfare, minuscule amounts, Logan Paul there, he ganged up, dumped Royce Keys, and then Bronson Reed Trump Dragon Lee. Are they just being mean to the fucking fans at this point? Everywhere this guy goes, people chant for him and they fucking say yeah, and he gets a big pop. And he never does anything. That's the story of his WWE career, whether he was used rather or not. He's always should give him. It was time for number 22, Brock Lesnar, who came out with Paul. And that made me think Paul was headed the way with Braun Breaker. Why had Paul already been out there with fucking Bronson Reed or He comes out with Brock, who suplexes Cody at LA Knight and slides back out because he's scared, but everybody else that jumped Brock and over. So Brock dumped Ilya, and Brock tried to, did German Cody, but Cody sandbagged him halfway, trying not to land on Cody. And then they go back to Brock and over, face off again, but now more music. I'm like, motherfucker. And it's Phoenix. So he dives off the top rope, swapping you. And Brock catches him and slams him. And German to Oba and dumped Phoenix, and then Oba clotheslined Brock. And nailed Logan Paul and went to dump Logan Paul, and Brock dumped him. It's like, why did you turn your back on this guy that you've been facing off with for the past 10 minutes after one clothesline? So it was just kind of a flat way to get rid of Oba. But then speaking of flats, that's when Jay Uso's music played, and then Brock was still doing shit. He German Logan Paul, but now we're looking at Jay eating through the whole stadium. And that was the spot where Cody and LA Knight eliminated Brock, which was lost because of the entrance.
Congratulations, 47. The leader is eliminated, sending a clear message.
Jay got to ringside.
Return to the safe house. Collect your stuff. I'll be in
Put his
touch.
hand on his IFP gimmick. And fucking cut his eyes to the ring like get the ring. And he did. And the music stopped, and then he stood there and had to run it back and start it up again. And by the time his music stopped, the music for the next guy started, which was Roman Reigns.
Well done, 47. This will make anyone think twice before turning to a life of crime.
Face off, Roman and Jay, while everybody else had just played around. And And Roman tells Jay to start his music back up again. Jay gets a big smile and he starts it, and Roman draws back and knocks the shit out of him. And then Roman leveled everybody and dumped the Miz and had a face-off.
You took down the Syndicate, but we have intel that there are more connected. Eliminate them all. You will be right. Prepare and let me know when you are ready.
Events of the Rumble, I ended up watching the January, well, January. I ended up watching the 1989 Rumble, which you don't hear people really talk about too much as being like an all-time classic. I just wanted to, like you said, I hate to say it, I wanted to enjoy entrances. And back then the entrances were the guys ran to the ring. Some of the big guys walked. It was so exciting, and you got action. 1 and 2, Demolition Axe and Smash. And they go in there and start kicking the shit out of each other. And then how do you stop this? I mean, it's pretty interesting. Okay, babyface and team beat each other up. Number 3, Andre the Giant. So it went from there and enjoyed the hell out of it. There was time in between the guy getting to the ring and the next guy coming out to get some stuff done. Yeah. And you don't get that as much now. Because they have entranceways that need cars, to be quite honest with you, to get you to the ring.
If it was in the same area code, it would be as the ring, the locker room, it would be better. But so anyway, we get the face off with Roman and Cody, and then the music plays, and it's Jacob. And Jacob, as he's coming down, Cody goes to dive out at him, and Jacob stopped him and beat him up on the floor, and super kicked LA Knight. Big Samoan drop on Javon Evans. And then he has the face off with Roman. He knocks Jacob out of the way and has a face off with Roman. And then Roman Reigns and Jey Uso double team Cody out of the win. Roman Reigns just pushed Jey in the fucking face 10 minutes ago. Why are they? And number 28 was Penta, and I wrote, who gives a shit at this point? LA Knight hit stuff on everybody, but then Cody knocked him off.
The ocean. It covers 71% of the world's surface. That's a lot.
Welcome to Colorado. Syndicate members are currently in the area. Find them and take them down. But they are on high alert, so tread carefully or they will slip away. Don't disappoint, 47. Good luck.
I find the ocean as scary as it is, so let's see how I view the ocean after covering this whole iceberg. We decided to cover it, so let's get into it with the ocean smooth iceberg. And actually,
I'm hearing ghosts or someone's messing with it. Go check it out. Got it.
It's insane that I've reached this goal so fast, and that they have reached this now.
Step up. It's go time. Yeah.
And the next subscriber goal is the big 100,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free. Now, without further ado, let's actually get into the video. And just getting into it with Tier 1.
Sean Rhodes in charge of operations. I don't get it. Why'd the boss pick him? Why not Reynard?
The way I see it, Reynard's a lone wolf.
Birds the best of the Earth's oceans are exceedingly deep. The average ocean depth of around 12,000 feet. These depth realms, often referred to as the Twilight Zone and the Midnight Zone, remain one of the least explored areas of our world. This inaccessibility, characterized by crushing pressure, frigid temperatures, and complete darkness, has hindered comprehensive study, and who knows what is actually in the ocean if 80% of
Syndicate member eliminated. Well done, 47.
Atlantis. Atlantis is a legendary and mythical island that has captured the human imagination for centuries. It is said to have been a highly advanced and powerful civilization, but according to ancient Greek philosopher Plato, Atlantis disappeared in the depths of the sea in a single day and a single night. The story of Atlantis has been subject to numerous theories, speculations, and fictional works. However, there is really no concrete evidence to even support the existence of Atlantis. It is widely considered to be a legend or allegorical tale. Plato's account of Atlantis can be found in his dialogues Macius and Critias, where he describes Atlantis as a large island located beyond the pillars of Hercules,
Of course.
street of Gibraltar. The Atlanteans were said to be powerful and technologically advanced society. They eventually fell out of favor with the gods due to their arrogance and were subsequently punished by the gods. The catastrophic event that submerged their island. Kraken. The Kraken is a mythical sea monster that has been a part of maritime folklore and legends for centuries. It is often described as a colossal and terrifying creature, a giant cephalopod with enormous tentacles, capable of dragging ships and their crew into the deep sea. Kraken's origins can be traced back to Scandinavian folklore and legends, particularly.
Hey there, just come back if you need more. Hey, you need anything? I got some cool stuff.
The Kraken's appearance and characteristics have varied in different stories and depictions, but is generally described as a massive, tentacled creature that dwells in the deep ocean. Some accounts suggest that the Kraken had the ability to create powerful whirlpools or storms. The creature was often associated with danger and was said to be a formidable adversary to sailors and seafarers. The legend of the Kraken has been popularized and incorporated into literature and popular culture, and has made appearances in various works of fiction, including the writings of Jules Verne, where it appeared in the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea book. It has also been featured in movies such as the Pirates of the Caribbean film series. Mermaids. Mermaids are mythical creatures that have been a part of folklore and mythology in various different cultures around the world for centuries.
Colorful. Yeah.
The upper body of a human and the lower body of a fish. The legends and stories about mermaids often vary from one culture to another, with some common themes persist. In terms of their appearance, mermaids are typically described as beautiful and alluring, with long flowing hair, often depicted as having an enchanting singing voice. Their lower bodies are that of a fish, complete with scales and a fishtail. The concept of mermaids can be found in mythology of many different cultures, including Greek, Roman, and Norse mythology. In these stories, mermaids are often associated with the sea. They are sometimes seen as both benevolent and malevolent beings. They are known for luring sailors with their songs or granting them safe passages throughout the seas. Mermaids have been a popular subject in literature, art, and folklore.
We're clear. There's nothing here.
Also known as the Devil's Triangle, is a loosely defined region in western
We're under attack.
Well done, officer. This will surely be a blow to the Syndicate.
Miami, Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The Bermuda Triangle has
On
been
your
known
flanks.
for
You could be walking into an ambush.
Heads up, people. We have a situation here.
Ships and aircrafts. Like the Triangle gained prominence in the mid-20th century.
Big catch. I've arrived at the location.
These incidents have often been cited as unexplained and supernatural. Several well-known disappearances have been associated with the Bermuda Triangle, including Flight 19, 5 U.S. Navy bombers that vanished during a training fight in 1945, disappearance of the USS Cyclops, the U.S. Navy cargo ship in 1918. However, investigations into these cases have often revealed
Our weapons hot.
such as navigational errors and adverse weather conditions. Many experts and scientists argue that the Bermuda Triangle's reputation for mysterious disappearances can largely be explained by natural factors such as unpredictable and severe weather patterns, strong currents, and magnetic anomalies. Additionally, human errors, equipment malfunctions, and navigational challenges can contribute to incidents within the area. Skeptics argue that the Bermuda Triangle's reputation as a mysterious death zone has been exaggerated. They point out that the vast majority of ships and aircraft navigate through the region without incident, and disappearances and accidents occur in other parts of the world as well. The Bermuda Triangle
Better lock and load.
in popular culture, inspiring numerous books, movies, documentaries, and TV shows. Megalodon. Megalodon was one of the largest predators to ever exist. Estimates of its size vary, but it's generally believed to have reached lengths of up to 82 feet, or even more. Some estimates hold that it could have grown to over 100 feet. Its size made it significantly larger than today's largest
Still with a chip on his shoulder.
With
skills like that, come on, man.
Boss
keeps his paws close to his chest.
The species is primarily identified by its large, triangular teeth, which could measure up to 7 inches in length. These teeth are
Mister, you should not be sneaking around here.
You might get hurt.
World, who is a top predator and likely preyed on a variety of marine mammals, whales, seals, and sea cows. Its powerful massive teeth were well suited for hunting and consuming large prey. Whether or not its extinction remains a subject of debate among scientists, and the prevailing theory is that changes in oceanic conditions, such as temperature and food availability, may have contributed to its demise. Thalassophobia is a term used to describe an intense aversion to the sight of deep or just open water. This phobia can manifest in various different ways and can vary in severity from person to person. People with thalassophobia may experience extreme anxiety, panic attacks, or a sense of dread when confronted with the vastness of the ocean, deep lakes, or even large open bodies of water. Thalassophobia can be triggered by a range of stimuli, including the sight of water, large waves, the idea of being far from land, or even underwater structures like shipwrecks or submerged objects. The underlying causes of thalassophobia can be complex and may involve a combination of different factors. Traumatic experiences, such as near-drowning incidents or witnessing accidents, can contribute to its development. Phobia, evolutionary psychology, suggests that an innate fear of deep water may have provided an adaptive advantage to our distant ancestors by promoting safety near the shoreline. Symptoms of thalassophobia can include rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, sweating, nausea, trembling, and a strong desire to escape the situation. In severe cases, individuals may avoid situations involving water altogether, which can impact their daily lives and limit their ability to enjoy activities involving water. Old sea monsters. Throughout history, myths and legends around sea monsters have fascinated cultures around the world, which in maritime folklore, tales of colossal, mysterious creatures that lurk in the depths of the oceans. These ancient stories, while often born from a lack of scientific knowledge about marine life, continue to captivate our imaginations and contribute to the rich tapestry of maritime lore. The most iconic sea monsters in maritime folklore is the Kraken, which we've already covered, and other ones are the Leviathan, is another prominent sea monster mentioned in the book of Jacob, but we'll also get into that later. And
excellent work, Vincent. You've spread fear within the city. You should get back to the safe house. I'll contact you later.
Greek mythology contributes to tales of Silica and Siberius, two sea monsters positioned on opposite sides of a narrow strait, and sailors had to navigate between them, symbolizing the perils of sea travel. Scylla was depicted as a multi-headed sea monster, while Cerberus represented the treacherous whirlpool. Sea serpents, often depicted as enormous serpentine beings, have been a recurring theme in maritime legends and stories. These creatures, with various reported sightings throughout history, continue to enchant over sea monsters. Alright, now on to Tier 2, starting with the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And this is a vast and notorious collection of marine debris, primarily composed of plastic, that is gathered in the North Pacific Ocean. The environmental issue has gained significant attention due to its detrimental impact on the marine ecosystem. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is not a solid mass of trash, but a result of the circular ocean currents known as gyres, trapping and accumulating pieces in two primary regions. This garbage patch, located between Hawaii and California, and the Eastern Garbage Patch, situated between Hawaii and Japan. Its composition primarily includes debris, plastics, result of the breakdown of plastics, as opposed to plastic waste. While microplastics enter the food chain, addressing this problem requires comprehensive measures, including the reduction of single-use plastics, involvements in waste management, and public awareness efforts to combat plastic
Good
pollution.
work back there. The Syndicate took a serious blow, but there is still much work to get done. Recuperate and prepare for your next
Although they face
assignment.
challenges due to the patch's vast size, remote location, and the fragmented nature of the debris. Green flash. The green flash is a rare optical phenomenon that occurs just before the sun rises or sets on the horizon. It appears as a brief, fleeting burst of green light, often lasting only a second or two. This phenomenon is more commonly observed at sunset due to the atmospheric conditions. The green flash is the result of the dispersion of sunlight as it passes through the Earth's atmosphere. While the sun is on the horizon, this light must pass through a greater thickness of the atmosphere. In shorter wavelengths of light, and blue and green are scattered or refracted more than longer wavelengths like red or orange, so it causes more green and blue to be shown than the red or orange, and this dispersion creates a separation of colors, and for a brief moment, the green light is visible at the upper rim of the sun. To witness a green flash, specific conditions are required, including a clear and unobstructed horizon, as well as atmospheric stability. The phenomenon is more likely to occur in areas with minimal air pollution and when the weather conditions are conducive. Green flashes are often observed over large bodies of water, such as the ocean, where there are fewer obstructions on the horizon. The Loch Ness Monster. I'm really not sure why this is included on the iceberg, because it's part of a lake, and we're talking about the ocean iceberg, but whatever, I'll still cover it. And the Loch Ness Monster, often referred to as Nessie, is a legendary and elusive creature said to inhabit Loch Ness, a large, deep lake in the Scottish Highlands. The legend of Loch Ness Monster has captured the public's imagination for decades, and it remains one of the most famous cryptid and creatures in the world. Nessie is typically described as a large, long-necked, serpentine or plesiosaurus-like creature. Sightings often depict a hump or multiple humps protruding from the water, suggesting a large, unidentified aquatic animal. Reports of the sightings of the Loch Ness Monster date back to at least the 6th century. However, it was in the 20th century that Nessie gained international attention due to a series of reported sightings, photographs, and films. The most famous photograph of Nessie is the surgeon's photograph, taken in 1934 by Robert Kenneth Wilson. It depicted a long neck and head rising out of the water, and this photograph fueled public interest in the creature, but it was later revealed to be a hoax. Over the years, various scientific investigations have been conducted to search for evidence of the Loch Ness Monster. These investigations include sonar scans of the loch, underwater expeditions, and DNA analysis of water samples. However, none of these efforts have provided conclusive evidence of the creature's existence. The Loch Ness Monster has inspired numerous theories and explanations, including suggestions that it could have been a surviving population of plesiosaurs, large fish, or an undiscovered species. Skeptics argue that many reported sightings are the lack of misidentifications of logs, waves, and other natural phenomena. Regardless of its existence, the legend of Nessie has become a significant part of Scottish culture and tourism. Loch Ness attracts visitors from around the world who hope to catch a glimpse of the elusive creature and explore the surrounding areas. Milky Sea phenomenon, also known as the Milky Seas, is a rare and mesmerizing natural event in which the surface of the ocean appears to glow a soft, eerie, and otherworldly light, creating the impression of a Milky Sea. This breathtaking event has captivated mariners for centuries, but it remains a relatively elusive occurrence. Observed primarily in certain parts of the world, during the Milky Sea phenomenon, the sea surface emits a pale blue or white light, often with a faint greenish hue. The light can be so intense that it illuminates the surrounding waters, creating an otherworldly luminous effect. This phenomenon is caused by bioluminescent organisms, and specifically a type of bioluminescent bacteria. These microorganisms emit light when disturbed or agitated, such as when a ship's hull or wave breaks against the surface of the water. The cumulative effect of countless individual bioluminescent reactions across a large area results in the appearance of a glowing sea. Milky seas are relatively rare and more likely to be observed in specific regions of the world, such as the Indian Ocean, particularly near the Maldives and off the coast of Somalia.
Welcome to the Isle of Scale. We have intel that the Syndicate is active in the area. However, they're on high alert, so you need to be careful. Don't disappoint, 47. Good luck.
These accounts have contributed to the sea, the Milky Sea phenomenon, and natural wonder, as well as piqued the interest of scientists. Studying the this bacteria responsible for the phenomenon can provide insights into marine ecology and the distribution of these microorganisms in the world's oceans. Bloop. The bloop is an underwater sound that gained notoriety due to its mysterious and unexplained origin, and it was first detected in 1997 by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as the NOAA, and is one of the loudest sounds ever recorded in the ocean. Wow. The bloop was initially picked up underwater and seen by the Atlantic Ocean, particularly in the vicinity of the Atlantic. The sound is made by the first time. The bloop is characterized by its extreme low frequency and a high maintenance sound, often described as a series of 8 ultra-low frequency noises, so loud that it can be heard over a vast distance. Don't
flush that out.
Various theories use the relations. Some suggested that it could be a cause caused by a large, unknown marine creature, perhaps a new species of gigantic sea creature. Others consider geological activity, such as underwater volcanic eruptions, as a possible source. In 2005, the NOAA revealed that the loop had a natural, non-mysterious origin. They determined that was most likely the sound produced by the cracking and fracturing of icebergs as they moved in the cold waters of the Antarctic. The bloop's unique sound resulted from the interaction of large ice masses and the pressure changes in the surrounding ocean. Titanic. The RMS Titanic sinking in April 1912 stands as one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history. Constructed by White Star Line, the Titanic was a colossal modular passenger liner celebrated for its advanced safety features. One single moniker, however, the ship's maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City took a tragic turn on April 14, 1912, when it struck an iceberg in the ocean. Despite the ship's advanced design, the impact led to extensive hull damage and the gradual flooding of its watertight compartments. Subsequent evacuation was
Come on, I've got nothing here.
lost. The RMS Carpathia responded to the Titanic's distress signal to aid rescue survivors who they found refuge in lifeboats on large debris.
You're not telling me
Disaster
they have
prompted
that.
international inquiries and a significant overhaul of maritime safety regulations, ensuring adequate lifeboats and improved safety procedures. The Titanic's legacy endures, serving as a symbol of the nature's unpredictability. It has also inspired numerous books, films, and documentaries.
I have the star of the Prague Philharmonic on stage.
Continues to have
For God's sake. And you're telling me these
legacy like that.
Meet in a cafe or something.
Tsunami. Tsunami is a formidable and devastating natural phenomenon that originates in the ocean, determined by geological events such as underwater earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, landslides, or meteorite impacts. Tsunamis manifest as a series of immense ocean waves, or tsunamis. These waves propagate outward. The events have a center, most commonly rising from overseas seismic activity and tectonic plate boundaries, while they travel at staggering speeds, reaching up to 500 miles an hour. Deep ocean waters, low wave height, and extended wavelengths, deep sea water can make them inconspicuous to ships at sea. Yet, as tsunamis approach shallow coastal areas, they decelerate and their wave height grows dramatically, resulting in towering and destructive waves upon reaching the shore. Devastation, tsunamis can inundate coastal regions, flood low-lying areas, and wreak havoc on infrastructure and communities in regions susceptible to tsunamis, such as the Pacific Ring of Fire. Early warning systems and monitoring of seismic activity help communities to prepare for and evacuate in response to tsunami threats. These natural disasters have historical significance, documented in ancient texts and accounts. Recent catastrophic events caused by a massive undersea earthquake underscore the destructive power of tsunamis. Mitigating their impact on coastal communities, focus on resilient infrastructure, effective early warning systems, and educating residents about tsunami preparedness and evacuation procedures. And personally, I find tsunamis to be so scary. So I hope we continue to invest and do stuff to help mitigate what really happens during tsunamis and helps communities, because those are scary. It wipes out everything. Alright, now on to Tier 3, starting with Osborne Reef. Situated off the coast of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's a noteworthy case of
You stay here
Gateway.
and try not to
In the
get my way.
1970s, the well-intentioned was to create an artificial reef by depositing approximately 2 million used and discarded tires into the ocean, with the goal of providing habitat for marine life and promoting recreational diving. However, the project's solution fell short, as the tire bundles were inadequately secured and many broke apart, leading to the scattering of tires across the ocean floor. These loose tires began to drift through ocean currents and, rather than benefiting marine ecosystems, they started to collide with and damage natural coral reefs. Consequently, numerous cleanup efforts have been initiated over the years, posing considerable challenges and costs due to the vast number of tires and their widespread distribution. Lake of Despair, also known as the Hot Tub of Despair or the Jacuzzi of Despair, is a lake at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico that causes animal fatality Philippines. Another less common name for the Pacific underwater lake is the hot-tub brine machine. At 3,300 feet below sea level, it's almost 67 degrees Fahrenheit. It should be around 40 degrees. This is deadly to animals that aren't equipped to handle such hot conditions. It's about 12 feet deep in most spots, and it's filled with bottles of methane that have also seeped out into the ocean. The fluid in the lake is also thicker than seawater. The jacuzzi of despair is approximately 100 feet circumference and cracks that emanate salt and gases, and maybe more than a mile deep. And that's about all I could find. So yeah, that's the jacuzzi of despair or death. CAS-2, also known as just the CAS-2 or double numeral 2, was a 9.8-meter catamaran sailboat that gained notoriety as a ghost ship. The vessel was found adrift and unmanned off the coast of northern Australia in April 2007. On April 20th, 2007, the CAS-2 was spotted by a helicopter crew. The yacht was found floating off the Great Barrier Reef near the Whitsunday Islands in Queensland, Australia. It was in good condition with its engine running, sails up, and crew life jackets on board. There was no sign of crew members aboard. The discovery of the CAS-2 as an unmanned vessel raised questions and sparked a mystery about what really happened to the crew. The crew members, consisting of skipper Derek Patton and brothers Peter and James Tunstead, were missing. An investigation into the incident suggested that the crew may have been involved in a series of unfortunate events that led to their disappearance. It was theorized that one of the men had come aboard and the others attempted to rescue him, but were unsuccessful. This theory was supported by evidence found on the boat, fishing gear in the water, and the CAS-2 became known as the ghost ship due to its eerie discovery, where the boat appeared to be in good condition but was abandoned, and the crew was nowhere to be found. The mystery surrounding the vessel and its crew fueled media attention. The story of the CAS-2 was widely covered in the media and sparked public interest in the circumstances of the crew's disappearance. It was featured in television programs and documentaries, and the disappearance of the CAS-2 crew remains one of the enduring mysteries of history. The boat was eventually towed into the port in Holland. This proves the exact sequence of events leading to the crew's disappearance has been determined. Submechanophobia is a specific and relatively uncommon fear or phobia characterized by an intense and irrational fear of aversion to submerged man-made objects, particularly those found underwater, such as sunken ships, submerged machinery, or other human-created structures beneath the surface of bodies of water. This fear often extends to objects like underwater pipelines, bridges, or even submerged vehicles, cars, and airplanes. People with submechanophobia makes freezing
You've spread fear
this
within the syndicate.
and when confronted with these submerged objects. The exact causes of submechanophobia are not well understood, but may be related to a fear of the unknown, fear of objects that are commercially obscure or hidden beneath water. It can also be triggered by the idea of the unknown being beneath the surface. Individuals with submechanophobia may be triggered by images, videos, or real-life encounters with submerged objects. These triggers can lead to strong emotional response, including anxiety, dread, or the feeling of impending danger. Rogue waves, also known as freak waves or monster waves, are exceptionally large and unexpected ocean waves that can pose a significant danger to ships and offshore structures. These waves are characterized by their sudden and massive height, often reaching well above the average wave height in a given area. Rogue waves are typically caused by the interaction of different wave systems and can form under various conditions, including the convergence of smaller waves, the presence of strong ocean currents, and the effects of wind patterns. These factors can lead to wave heights that are much larger than surrounding waves. One of the most challenging aspects of rogue waves is their unpredictability. They can appear suddenly and without warning, making them significant hazards for ships and offshore structures. Recognized as waves with heights is at least twice of that of the significant wave height in the location. They've been responsible for causing extensive damage to ships and even sinking vessels. The recognition of the threat posed by rogue waves has led to improved ship design and safety measures. Modern ships are built to better withstand extreme wave conditions, and advances in technology, such as wave radar, are used to help detect and avoid rogue waves. Mary Celeste is one of the most famous maritime mysteries in all of history. The story dating back to December 5th, 1872, on a day the British ship De Gratia came across the Mary Celeste adrift in the Atlantic Ocean, some 600 miles off the coast of Azores. Portuguese islands.
God, I'm so
A peculiar
dead.
aspect of the discovery was that the Mary Celeste appeared to have abandoned no crew in the site except for the ship's cat. Upon boarding the Mary Celeste, the crew of the De Caratia found no signs or struggle of violence. The ship was in seaworthy condition, and its cargo and provisions were largely intact. However, the lifeboat and a small portion of the ship's documentation, including the captain's logbook, were missing. This abandonment, without explanation, gave rise to one of the most enduring maritime mysteries in all of history, leaving the fate of the Mary Celeste crew unknown. Eels. Eels are a fascinating group of fish with a distinct and elongated body shape. Characterized by their long snake-like appearance, these creatures belong to the order Anguilliformes and are found in a wide range of aquatic environments, spanning freshwater rivers and lakes and the ocean. Eels exhibit remarkable diversity among species, varying in size, coloration, and behavior. Their unique life cycles and characteristics set them apart in the world of aquatic life. One of the most intriguing aspects of eels is their complex life cycles. Many eel species are catamorphous, meaning they are born in the ocean, then migrate to freshwater habitats to grow and mature. Once they reach maturity, they embark on a journey back to the ocean to spawn and complete their life cycle, often traveling over great distances. This migration behavior adds an element of mystery to their already enigmatic nature. Some eel species possess electric organs, allowing them to generate electrical charges. Electric eels, for instance, use these charges for various purposes, including navigation, communication, and hunting. They are capable of delivering powerful electric shocks to immobilize prey and ward off potential predators. Eels are known for their impressive longevity, and certain species, such as the European eel, can live for several decades. Some individuals have been documented to reach over a century in age. This longevity contributes to the sense of mystery and wonder that surrounds these weird creatures. Eels have played a significant role in various cultures and cuisines. In Japan, eels are celebrating traditional dishes like unagi and kawasaki, and smoked eel is considered a delicacy in some European culinary traditions. Their place in culinary history reflects the culture, significance, and appreciation of eels in different parts of the world. But personally, I find eels so weird, because how can an animal have, electricity inside of it? But who knows? They're pretty cool. Alright, now on to Tier 4, starting off with the giant oarfish, scientifically known as the Regulus lesson. I don't pronounce that, but it's whatever. It is a remarkable and enigmatic marine creature celebrated for its extraordinary length and unique appearance. With its ribbon-like body, the giant oarfish holds the distinction of being the longest buckled fish in the world, often reaches lengths of up to 50 feet or even longer. Its silver-colored body is covered in small, silvery, iridescent scales, and it boasts a distinctive dorsal fin that extends the entire length of its body, resembling a ribbon. These elusive giants of the sea are typically inhabitants of the deep ocean, offering depths ranging from 656 to 3,280 feet. This reclusive nature, coupled with their deep sea habitat, has led to limited interactions with humans, making giant oarfish rare and mysterious creatures. Over the years,
this iceberg catalogs belief systems by familiarity and obscurity. Placement is not a judgment of truth or legitimacy. Some entries involve disturbing or extremist material. Viewer discretion is advised. Timestamps are provided below. Slavic mythology refers to the ancient belief system of the Slavic peoples.
The Syndicate took a serious
swept
blow,
through Eastern Europe.
but there is still
Unlike
much work to
Greek or
get done.
Norse mythology, with their well-preserved texts, Slavic mythology survived mostly through folk tales, seasonal festivals, and practices that the church couldn't quite stamp out. The Slavs worshipped a pantheon dominated by Perun, the thunder god who wielded an axe and rode a chariot pulled by a goat. His eternal enemy was Veles, a shape-shifting serpent deity of the underworld, cattle, and wealth. Their cosmic battle supposedly caused the changing of seasons. When Veles stole Perun's cattle, wife, or children, and dragged them underground, Perun would strike the earth with lightning until Veles released them. The mythology features Mokosh, the only female deity mentioned in old Russian chronicles, who controlled fate and weaving. Women would throw hemp seed and wool scraps into wells as offerings, believing she could curse those who worked on Fridays. One of the most intriguing elements involves the domovoi, household spirits that lived behind stoves. Families moving to new homes would carry hot coals from their old stove to invite their domovoi along. Forgetting this ritual meant abandoning a family member and guaranteeing misfortune. The god Chernobog, literally meaning black god, so feared that merely uttering his name required spitting or cursing afterward. Medieval Christian chroniclers described rituals where worshippers would pass around a cup in darkness, whispering curses in Chernobog's name whenever they drank. God and the Romanizzi controlled destiny itself, a divine family that predetermined every human's fate before birth. Even after Christianization, women continued leaving bread, cheese, and honey for the Romanizzi after childbirth, disguising it as offerings to the Virgin Mary. The Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church exists in a fascinating religious gray zone. This church follows Eastern Orthodox liturgy and traditions, while simultaneously pledging allegiance to the Pope in Rome, making it part of a category called Eastern Catholic Churches. What emerged in the late 1500s through the Union of Brest became one of the most persecuted religious institutions of the 20th century. Under Soviet rule, Stalin ordered its complete liquidation in 1946, forcing all bishops to either convert to Russian Orthodoxy or face imprisonment. The church's leader, Metropolitan Joseph Slepich, spent 18 years in Siberian labor camps rather than renounce his faith. The church went completely underground, operating in secret for nearly half a century. Priests performed baptisms in private apartments, celebrated liturgies in forests, and ordained new clergy in hidden ceremonies. They developed elaborate codes and networks to avoid detection by the KGB, who actively hunted them down. The underground church created what they called catacomb priests, clergy who maintained regular day jobs while secretly ministering to believers. Some worked as factory workers, others as janitors or farmers, all while risking decades in prison if discovered. When the Soviet Union began collapsing in 1989, something extraordinary happened. This supposedly dead church suddenly revealed it had millions of secret adherents. Entire villages in western Ukraine emerged as having maintained the faith in complete secrecy for 43 years. The church reclaimed hundreds of confiscated properties overnight, shocking both Moscow and the Vatican with its survival. Today, it remains the largest Eastern Catholic Church, with about 4 million members primarily in Ukraine, using Old Church Slavonic in its liturgies, and maintaining married priests while still answering to Rome. Phrygian mythology centers on Cybele, the great mother goddess whose worship involved some of the most extreme religious practices in the ancient world. Her cult priests, the Galli, would enter frenzied states during rituals and perform acts of self-mutilation, including ritual castration, to dedicate themselves completely to the goddess. The central myth tells of Attis, Cybele's consort, who went mad and removed his own manhood beneath a pine tree before dying. His resurrection story predates Christianity by centuries, celebrated each spring with wild festivals where initiates would work themselves into ecstatic frenzies, using specific drum rhythms and the haunting sounds of Phrygian flutes. These ceremonies took place in underground temples called Megara, where participants consumed psychoactive substances and engaged in all-night rituals. The Romans were simultaneously fascinated and horrified when they imported Cybele's worship in 204 BCE during the Second Punic War, believing the goddess would help them defeat Hannibal. The Phrygian mode in music, which creates an unsettling, mysterious sound, comes directly from their ritual music. Musicians discovered that certain intervals could induce trance states, and modern metal bands still use Phrygian scales to create that distinctively dark atmosphere. What disturbed Roman authorities most was how the cult attracted people from every social class. Senators would secretly attend the nocturnal rites, and the Emperor Claudius later tried to regulate the religion by creating official feast days, attempting to control something that fundamentally resisted control.
Like this video and subscribe until later.
The cult emerged from one of the most dramatic religious ceremonies in history. In 1699, Guru Gobind Singh called thousands of Sikhs to gather at Anandpur Sahib. He appeared before the crowd with a drawn sword and asked for volunteers willing to give their heads for their faith. The crowd went silent. After repeated calls, one man stepped forward. The Guru took him into a tent, and moments later emerged alone with his sword dripping blood. He called for another volunteer, then another. 5 men total entered that tent, and the crowd believed they had witnessed 5 executions. Then the Guru revealed the truth. All 5 men emerged alive, now dressed in saffron robes. These became the Panch Pyar, the 5 beloved ones. The initiation ceremony involves drinking amrit, a mixture of water and sugar stirred with a double-edged sword. Once initiated, members take on specific physical markers known as the 5 Ks. Kesh, uncut hair kept covered by a turban. Kara, an iron bracelet worn on the right wrist. Kanga, a wooden comb. Kachera, cotton undergarments. And the Kirpan, a ceremonial dagger that must be carried at all times. The Khalsa operates as both a spiritual brotherhood and a military order.
I'll be in
Members
touch
adopt
with
new
you
surnames.
at your destination.
Singh meaning lion for men. These names replaced caste surnames, creating equality among all members, regardless of their birth status. Initiated members follow a strict code that prohibits cutting hair, eating halal meat, adultery, and tobacco use. The Khalsa maintained its own army for centuries, developing a
Welcome
reputation
to
as
New
fierce
York.
warriors who fought
Intel
against
tells us that there are
British
syndicate
forces
members in
while
the area.
maintaining their distinct
I trust that
identities
you can
through
find
centuries
them
of
and
pressure to
eliminate
convert
them.
or assimilate.
But this is not going to be easy.
The
Previous
Namdari
actions have put them on
in
high alert,
1857,
so you
when
need to be
Sadhguru Ram
tactical.
Singh founded this distinct
Godspeed,
branch of
Wilson.
Sikhism in Punjab.
Take a
Unlike
look.
mainstream
Oh,
Sikhs
yeah,
who
I
believed
get
their
it.
line of human gurus ended with Guru Gobind Singh, the Namdaris maintain a continuous succession of living gurus to this day. Their members, also called Guptas, became notorious to British colonial authorities for their fierce resistance tactics. In 1872, 66 Namdaris were executed by cannon fire as British line butchers and slaughterhouses. The British literally tied them to the mouths of cannons and blew them apart. A punishment meant to terrorize the movement into submission. The sect practices extreme devotion through their Nam Simran meditation, where practitioners chant until entering ecstatic states. Some followers begin shrieking uncontrollably during these sessions, which earned them the name Puja, meaning the Screamers. Namdaris believe their founder Ram Singh never actually died. According to their doctrine, he was deported to Rangoon by the British in 1872, but mysteriously vanished, and they expect his physical return to lead them again. This belief parallels certain messianic traditions, but within a Sikh framework. The movement maintains strict codes that set them apart. Complete vegetarianism, wearing only white homespun cotton, arranging marriages through simple ceremonies without dowries, and originally, a total boycott of British goods and services, including postal systems and courts. Today, around 1 million Namdaris follow their current leader Satguru Uday Singh, maintaining their headquarters in Paini Sahib, Punjab, where they claim supernatural healings and prophecies still occur regularly. The Nirankari movement started as a reformist sect in the 19th century Punjab, but the modern Sant Nirankari mission became something far more controversial. Founded in 1929 by Bhutta Singh, this group claims to offer spiritual enlightenment through a living guru, or Satguru, who supposedly reveals divine knowledge through a secret initiation ceremony. The tension erupted violently in April 1978, when a Nirankari congregation in Amritsar
Excellent
held a
work,
procession that
47.
many Sikhs
You've
viewed
spread
as
fear
politically
within the
provocative.
syndicate.
13 Sikhs lost their lives
She
in the
prefers to
ensuing
look over
clash,
all of us from
an
now on.
event that sent shockwaves through Punjab's religious communities. What really set the Nirankaris apart was their claim that their guru held spiritual authority equal to or beyond the Sikh gurus. Their leader, Gurbachan Singh, declared himself the true spiritual successor.
What the hell was that slap?
Godright philosophy. The group's secret initiation ritual, known as Nam Dan, remains closely guarded, with members forbidden from revealing what actually happens during the ceremony. In 1980, Gurbachan Singh was eliminated by Sikh militants, escalating an already volatile situation. His successor, Hardev Singh, tried repositioning the movement as a universal spiritual organization rather than a Sikh offshoot, but suspicions persisted. Former members have described strict control mechanisms within the organization, including mandatory attendance at congregations, and pressure to donate significant portions of income. The mission operates its own schools, hospitals, and even mass wedding ceremonies where hundreds of couples marry simultaneously under the guru's blessing. Today they claim millions of followers worldwide, though critics maintain it operates more like a personality cult than a legitimate spiritual movement.
Why are you sneaking around like that?
Treated as a divine incarnation whose word becomes absolute law. Adoptionism was one of the earliest Christian heresies to split the church.
Aren't you
Jesus was born as an ordinary human and only became divine through adoption by God. This belief system emerged in the 2nd century and caused massive theological battles that shaped Christianity as we know it today. The core idea was radical for its time. Jesus started out as a regular person, just like anyone else. But because of his perfect moral character and obedience to God, he was chosen and elevated to divine
Nothing to
status.
report.
Most adoptionists
Yeah, I
look
mean,
at Jesus' baptism in the Jordan River as the exact moment when God adopted him as his son, with the Holy Spirit
I bet he's seen some action.
the transformation. The movement had several prominent leaders, including Theodotus of Byzantium, a leather merchant who brought these teachings to Rome around 190 CE. Pope Victor I excommunicated him for teaching.
The head of
that
security
Christ
soon
was
expects there may have been some
divine
tampering
power
going
at
on
his
here.
baptism.
But I need my
Another
thing to
Pope
see
figure was Paul of Samosata, who served as Bishop of Antioch from 260 to 268 CE, and taught that Jesus was inspired by divine wisdom, but remained distinctly separate from God. The Spanish Church dealt with its own adoptionist crisis in the 8th century, when Elepantus, Archbishop of Toledo, and Felix,
not as bad as that
Bishop
time
of
at
Urgell,
Remember
revived
that?
these
Oh,
ideas.
the
They
6,000
persisted
semi-incinerated
on
files we had to...
but only the adopted
Well done,
son
Lord
in his
Seven.
human nature.
This will
Charles
surely be a
himself
blow to
got
the
involved,
syndicate.
calling councils to condemn the doctrine. What made adoptionism so threatening to mainstream Christianity was that it undermined the Trinity and the Incarnation, two foundational doctrines. The Council of Nicaea in 325 CE specifically crafted the Nicene Creed to combat adoptionist ideas, declaring that Jesus
You're
was
making
God,
us all feel really
not
safe,
made,
sir.
and of full substance with the Father. Nestorianism takes its name from
Rector's
Nestorius,
office.
a 5th century patriarch of Constantinople, whose theological teachings sparked one of Christianity's most explosive doctrinal battles. At the heart of this controversy was a single divisive question about the nature of Jesus Christ himself. Nestorius taught that Christ existed as two distinct persons, one divine, one
Syndicate
human,
member eliminated.
united in purpose,
Well done,
but
47.
fundamentally separate. This
You should
directly
get back to
challenged
safe
the
house.
mainstream
I'll
Christian
contact you
belief
later.
that Christ was one person with two natures perfectly fused together. The distinction might seem subtle, but it shattered the early church. The conflict erupted over what to call Mary. Nestorius rejected the title Theotokos, meaning God
Don't mind me.
or Mother of God, insisting she should only be called Christotokos.
How are you finding things
Christ
here?
Mary. His reasoning was that Mary gave birth to the human Jesus, not the divine Word of God. This position enraged Cyril of Alexandria, who saw it as splitting Christ into two beings. In 431 AD, the Council of Ephesus condemned Nestorius as a heretic. He was deposed, exiled to Egypt, and his writings were ordered burned. But instead of disappearing, Nestorianism spread like wildfire eastward. The Church of the East, labeled Nestorian by its enemies, expanded across the Silk Road into Persia, India, Central Asia, and even reached Tang Dynasty China by 635 AD. At its height, Nestorian Christianity stretched from the Mediterranean to the Pacific Ocean, with millions of followers and thousands of churches. Mongol princesses practiced the faith, and Nestorian merchants established communities from Paris to Beijing. Marco Polo encountered Nestorian Christians throughout his travels. Yet today, only small communities survive, primarily among Assyrian Christians in Iraq, Syria, and diaspora populations, carrying forward a theological tradition that was between Rome and Constantinople in its reach. The African Methodist Episcopal Church emerged in 1816 as the first independent black denomination in the United States, born from an act of defiance that would reshape American religious history. Richard Allen, a formerly enslaved minister, founded the church after white congregants physically pulled black worshipers from their knees during prayer at St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church in Philadelphia. Allen and his followers walked out that day in 1787, refusing to accept segregated worship spaces and second-class treatment within their own faith. The AME Church became far more than a religious institution. During the era of slavery, church basements served as stations on the Underground Railroad, with ministers doubling as conductors who guided escapees to freedom. Denmark Vesey, who organized one of the largest planned slave revolts in 1822, was an AME church member in Charleston, South Carolina. After the Civil War, the denomination exploded from 20,000 members to over 400,000 within a decade. The church produced some of America's most influential figures. Rosa Parks was an
Come on,
member,
just ask
and
Chin
French
up.
press civil rights leaders who used church networks to organize boycotts and protests. Today, with over 2.5 million members worldwide, the AME Church remains one of the largest Methodist bodies globally, with congregations spanning from Liberia to London. Its inclusion on this iceberg likely stems from its lesser known
Boot up!
claimed he received divine revelations about healing the world through spiritual light. Okada taught that practitioners could channel a divine energy called Jorei
Hey there.
by holding
Need
their
anything?
for another person.
Always am.
Purify their spiritual body and cure physical ailments. Members perform Jorei daily, directing their palms at each other for sessions lasting 10 to 30 minutes. The church teaches that this practice removes spiritual clouds that accumulate from negative thoughts, toxic foods, and medications. Okada insisted that most illnesses were actually purification processes that shouldn't be suppressed with conventional medicine. The movement gained massive traction in Brazil during the 1960s, where it now claims over 300,000
more, you know where to find me.
Brazilian followers built elaborate temples featuring Japanese gardens and crystal altars, with the largest cathedral in São Paulo accommodating 25,000 people. Members wear small focal points called obikari around their necks, believed to amplify their ability to channel Jorei energy. Okada promoted 3 pillars for creating earthly paradise: Jorei healing, natural farming without chemicals or fertilizers, and appreciation of beauty through art. The church operates multiple museums housing Okada's personal collection of Japanese national treasures, which he claimed possessed spiritual power that could elevate human consciousness. The organization split into several factions since Okada's death in 1955, with different branches emphasizing various aspects of his teachings. Some focus purely on Jorei healing, while others incorporate elements from Christianity and Buddhism, creating a syncretic belief system that adapts to local cultures while maintaining the core practice of channeling divine light. The Family International, originally called the Children of God, started as a Christian commune in California in 1968 under David Berg, who
Good
later
work back
insisted
there.
followers
The syndicate
called him
took a serious
Moses
blow.
David. What
But there's
began
still
as a
much work to
seemingly
get done.
typical Jesus movement
Recuperate
group
and prepare for your next
transformed into one of the
assignment.
most controversial religious organizations of the 20th century. Berg claimed to receive direct prophecies from God through spirit guides, including a seductive spiritual entity named Abraham. These revelations, distributed to members through illustrated letters called Mo letters, contained increasingly radical teachings that diverged sharply from mainstream Christianity. The group's most infamous practice was flirty fishing, active from 1974 to 1987, where female members were instructed to use intimate relationships as a recruitment tool. Berg taught that this was a form of showing God's love to the lonely and lost. Internal documents later revealed that members reported over 223,000 converts through this method. After Berg's death in 1994, his widow Karen Zerbe, known as Mama Maria, took control. The organization underwent multiple rebranding efforts, becoming the Family of Love, then the Family, and finally the Family International in 2004. Despite these changes and official apologies for past practices, former members including Berg's own granddaughter, Mary Berg, and son, Ricky Rodriguez, came forward with disturbing accounts of systematic abuse within communes. The group currently operates as an online network, claiming around 1,400 members worldwide. They maintain that modern incarnation bears no resemblance to their earlier practices, though critics argue the fundamental power structures and isolation tactics remain intact. The movement for the restoration of the Ten Commandments of God was a religious sect in Uganda that ended in one of the deadliest cult tragedies of the modern era. Founded in the late 1980s by Credonia Morinda and Joseph Kibutir, this group attracted thousands of followers with apocalyptic predictions and strict biblical interpretations. Morinda claimed to receive visions from the Virgin Mary, while Kibutir, a former Catholic priest, provided theological structure. They demanded absolute adherence to the Ten Commandments, forbidding soap, sex, and even speaking. Members communicated through hand signals to avoid breaking the commandment against